I'm Dan Dutfield. I work as a safety practitioner. I'm a chartered member of IOSH. I currently work in the hospitality industry. I work for a leased and tenanted pub company. We have a very large portfolio of pub sites, as well as other commercial properties and residential sites. And we also run a managed house estate of pubs. So whilst I worked in local government, I had the responsibility of dealing with a large number of high street retailers, as well as the hospitality sector in London. And for 10 years, I was a health and safety inspector enforcing health and safety law. I've been using Safe365 for probably 12 months. I find it a very easy way in which to demonstrate compliance to non-safety professionals. It's a very powerful visual demonstration of the level of compliance we have in the estate. It's unlike anything else that I've seen, not least because it's fundamentally based on very sound safety questions, which I, as the person inputting information, recognise as being essentially what the law will require us to do. And then as we go through the evolution, the journey for safety, I can revisit the questions that I've previously answered and tweak those, and I can demonstrate to my board, to my director, to other parts of the business that we are making improvements in certain areas. But I can also use that as a tool to show them where there are areas that we need to have more focus on. So particularly how the system allows me to benchmark against others that also use the system. It gives me, my business would like to be in step with the rest of the industry, and it gives me that benchmarking tool, as well as that very obvious visual representation of compliance and safety, which is just really powerful for when I'm speaking to both operational managers, but also at a board level, and when I'm speaking to my chief exec. Safety has a very bad reputation, not helped by the fact that people don't really understand what they need to do. And there's a lot to do in safety. The subject is quite broad. So for me, the benefit of the system is that it breaks it down into very logical elements, and below that is underpinned by the key questions. So it can help me to get the business to understand what the priorities for safety are in each of the settings that it can apply it to. So at the moment, I've run the assessment on the basis of my whole business, but there's very distinct parts of my company, and I'd like to run it individually on each element. And I think it will help to generate a little bit of healthy competition, but it'll also allow those with a governance and oversight responsibility to see how the business is performing as a whole, and then individually by part. So to me, it's about prioritisation and then focus, and being able to track an improvement as we do make changes and address deficiencies. It allows us to chart that in a way that the business can very obviously see. I suppose it helps to remove any excuse for not dealing with safety, because it makes it so very tangible and very obvious that no one can really disagree with the information that it shows, and then the way in which it shows it makes it even more powerful. So I think one of the problems when trying to talk safety to non-safety professionals and business leaders, my board, the chief exec, is they don't understand the detail of safety, and it's very easy for a safety professional to start to talk quite technically, which doesn't chime with the way in which they may work. Whereas using something like Safe365, it unlocks it deals with the technical elements, but it presents it in a way that you don't need to be technical to understand. So it's very visual, and it tells the whole story without getting lost in the detail. I think it's also difficult in safety when we start to look at solutions. There's a temptation to find an overwhelming amount of problem that can't easily be solved, and perhaps very important issues are put in the too hard box. But I think the system will allow you to really easily expose those and get the support from the business to address some of the more difficult areas. I think one of the benefits of Safe365 is that the tool, the visual element of the tool, which I think is really powerful, can be used equally effectively at a board level, but also down at a site level. It can show staff and managers responsible for an individual site or an individual operation how they're performing against their peers, the improvement that they have been making through their efforts. It's a sort of a verification, I suppose, of the hard work that people will put into safety when they're pointed and directed in the right way. So I spent a long time working in health and safety enforcement, working with lots of different companies, looking at the way that they tried to manage safety. And there was a lot of paper being generated, but it would never give you a true reflection of how an organisation was dealing with compliance, dealing with safety. Since I've worked in the private sector, equally I found the challenge being about how to represent safety in a way that could be understood. I think the benefit of Safe365 is that the uniqueness of 365 is that I haven't seen or found anything that's remotely similar that will allow such a wealth of, such a breadth of compliance questions to be brought into such a simple way to articulate an answer. So no, I have not seen anything that is anywhere near as comprehensive and competent as this piece of software. Using Safe365 for the first time, I'm such an advocate of it that I have introduced it to other safety professionals that I work with in the industry that I respect. They've seen the system for themselves, and some of them have taken it on and now use it as part of the way in which they try to manage safety in the areas that they work within.
Safe365, intelligent health and safety software for business.